welcome to entrepreneurs creating OMG moments in their life, things that are big and bold and exciting and new and get you out of your comfort zone that help you take steps to get to where you want to be in your business. I am here with Nancy Zare, and I am so excited because we are going to be talking a little bit about sales and her OMG moments she has created in her life. And Nancy is the sales whisperer. How many of you would like to become a sales whisperer where you feel like your conversations are simple and profitable for mission-driven solopreneurs who strive to get more clients without being salesy? This is one of my favorite subjects. We love talking about this because you can never get enough sales information. I say, like, do as many sales trainings as you can because you will just get better and better. So Nancy is the creator of a likability system. She reveals how buyers buy so your audience can turn more than 50% of their prospects into clients and get to choose who they work with. Nancy is a certified sales trainer and author of 6 books, including international Amazon bestseller. Welcome, welcome, Nancy. So glad you are here.
I am so excited. I cannot wait, Tami, to share with you and your audience all sorts of nuggets from the likability recipe.
Awesome, awesome. We love nuggets. So I want to first hear a little bit about where you're at in your business and what was an OMG moment that was a real eye opener that helped you get out of your comfort zone, do something big, bold that you didn't think you could do before. What is that OMG moment for you?
To answer your question about where I am right now in my business, obviously it's not where you start, folks, and you're going to find that there is an evolution. It's like giving birth to a child, and you have all these expectations about what your offspring is going to be like. And then you find that the business has a life of its own, and that based upon the audience's response to your business, you find it moving and grooving and going in a direction kind of like an amoeba, it kind of moves into a particular direction. And if that's a good direction, suddenly it grows and expands and swells. And if it's not, then you find yourself moving in another direction. This is the nature of a business. So pull in your seatbelt, get fastened, because that's what's going to happen. Am I right, Tami?
Absolutely. I always tell my clients, like, they get so nervous about where to start their business and what their niche is and all of these things. And I'm like, don't worry, just start, because where you start is never going to be where you end. You will learn things along the journey. You will shift. You will change niches probably at some point. Hopefully not too often. Got to stick to something for at least 6 months to a year to even know if you're going to get any momentum. But it just merges as you learn more and as people start coming to you and saying, hey, but I want to know more about that, or how did you do this? And you realize that that's where you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. And so, there are many OMG moments that happen in the life of an entrepreneur. Probably the first one is you decide to quit your job, that job, just
Yes.
over broke, and you have the excitement and the anticipation of what it's going to be like to work for yourself. Well, guess what? You have the worst boss in the world because I never give myself a break, right? I don't take vacations. I mean, this is initially when you start your business because you're really working on it intensely to grow it. And that initial start of your business takes an awful lot of effort. And there are many times then you say to yourself, I can't do it, or it's too much, or maybe I should go get a job. And guess what? You've got a partner in your life and family to support. They may be telling you, go get a job. And because of the fact that there are all these roller coaster rides that you're on, the bumps and the hills and the down crests, you're nodding your head. So I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you. That first moment is quitting the job and realizing you're moving into entrepreneurship. That is a big OMG moment. And you've written 6 books. That's huge. And so tell us a little bit about what it took for you to decide you're going to write a book and getting it out there, because that is a big OMG moment. I know a lot of people want to create for themselves.
Yeah, well, if you are, again, your own brand and working for yourself, you're going to find that you need to, you need to brand yourself and you need to develop a reputation. And in my case, I decided I should become a thought leader. And a thought leader means having a message to share and information to share. Now, I was academically trained to have a PhD. So it was, the idea of writing and publishing was kind of a good one, right? It was a good match. But I'll tell you, there's a difference between academic writing and writing for your peers that get reviewed and put into a journal versus writing for the public or writing for colleagues, writing for you as the audience. It's different. You can't speak the same language or write in the same way. So when I wrote my books, I had to really change my writing style a lot. I think I'm getting better and better at it, Tami. So just like my business has evolved over time, my books have evolved. And I think the latest one is probably the best one.
Awesome. Yes. And right, it gets better and better because your writing gets better, your skill gets better. And not that your first one was probably bad, it was probably great as well, but you hone the skill and you get it out there. So, congratulations on all of those. And let's talk a little bit about sales because I
Thank
know
you.
being the sales whisperer, this is your area of expertise. And especially, we talked about the people coming from the JOB and starting their business. This is one of the biggest issues I see is people don't understand sales. They don't want to do sales. And I had the same feeling, right? I'm like, I said constantly, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. And I had to reframe that for myself in order to get past that. So, what are some tips that you have for people in that place that are thinking about sales as a negative thing? And how do they get past that?
Well, it is a mindset. And I'm so glad to know that you identified for yourself that it was a state of mind. It isn't a reality, and that you made a choice to consciously change. Because until you become aware that that is a mindset and that you are kind of stuck in that stereotype about the sleazy used car salesman, I mean, I think many of us have that stereotype. Until you recognize it and realize it, you can't change it because you're kind of influenced by it. So it's a story we've told ourselves, and we need to tell a different story. Now, Tami, there are many different ways that one can tackle your mindset. Of course, there are people who specialize in mindset coaching, etc. But from a sales point of view, I think the biggest one is how we term what we do. Because the people I work with don't think of themselves as salespeople. They think of themselves by their occupational credential. So I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm a home stager, I am an attorney, or whatever their particular occupation might be. And yet, the bottom line is no matter what credential you've received, whatever certification or training you've undertaken, there's a good chance that you were never taught about how to run a business, let alone how to market and sell that business, because you're not in the business you think you are. You're in the business of selling the business you think you're in.
Hmm.
Notice the difference. You're not your occupation, you're actually in the business of selling it. And for many of my favorite clients, when they have this rude awakening that to love what I do, I'm going to have to do what I hate, they really wonder whether this role of being an entrepreneur is really what I want to do, or should I run back to get a job? Because at the job, they found people for me. They sold, right? The
Mm-hmm.
clients came to me. I didn't have to go searching for them. And now I'm faced with the prospect of having to find them, not only find them, but then somehow present myself in a way that they say, let's work together. So what do we call what we do? Is it selling? Is it sharing? Is it educating? Is it helping? Is it serving? Notice all these words can be used to help you understand that what you're doing and what you're giving your prospect, your client, so that your prospect can make a determination. Is this something that is a good fit for what I'm looking for? And at the same time, I hope you're thinking about whether this prospect is a good fit for you. Because when we start out, the biggest mistake we make is trying to do everything for anyone. Why? Because we really want to see the dollars come in and we want to feel successful as an entrepreneur. So we become this Jack or Jill of all trades. And guess what? You actually are, you don't know it, but you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yes, absolutely. Completely agree with all of that. And I love that you shared this because I think that there's so many people who they have to just say yes to anyone because if you're just getting started, it's like, oh, I have a prospect and they're interested. And like, you get all excited about that. You're like, I just want to land my first client because that's an OMG moment right there when you land that first client. And if that first client isn't ideal and you end up working with them and then you're frustrated and then it just goes downhill from there, right? You're like, whoa, because now you're thinking, where do I go from here? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this because this isn't working well. When in reality, it's because you said yes to the wrong person or the wrong thing. Because sometimes we commit to doing things in our businesses that we shouldn't be doing or that
Yeah.
were beyond the skill set that you had or beyond what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's so, so true. Sales is usually something that people are not trained to do, let alone they may not enjoy it initially, again, because of that mindset that we mentioned a moment ago. And hence, I wear hats. For those of you who might not be maybe just listening and not viewing this. I wear hats because entrepreneurs wear many hats. And the one that they usually dislike the most is the one called sales. It's not that we
Mhm.
don't like the selling, like we want a new client, but the actual going and getting that person is a drudgery for many of us until, of course, we learn how the secret recipe.
Yes, absolutely. And Nancy has a bright red hat on for those of you who are just listening to the audio. And I love that. And it's so fun because I love how it represents putting that sales hat on. I always say, like, as soon as you become an entrepreneur, you put the entrepreneur hat on, and it's like all of a sudden you are flooded with all of these strategies and tactics and things you should do. And you have no clue which ones are right for you based on where you're at in your business. Now, sales is something you need to learn at every phase of business because there's also hitting those levels and realizing that you have to shift your mindset in order to get to that next level in sales and getting to that next phase. So, do you have any tips for us for someone who has kind of hit that plateau and is like, okay, I've gotten to a certain level in sales, but I want to double my prices or I want to offer a new program. What is something that you can share with them?
Well, I absolutely applaud people who are ready to double their prices. And my answer is go for it. Absolutely go for it. For those of you who are still a little funny about that word selling and you're not sure you're a salesperson, you sell every day. If you're
Mhm.
living with somebody, there's a good chance you're trying to influence that person in terms of what are we going to eat, where are we going to go, what are we going to do. Anytime you're influencing another person to take action, you are selling. So we sell all the time. Now, children happen to be excellent at selling because usually they don't take no for an answer. And if you
Mhm.
have a child, if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about because your child will not stop usually when they want something, a toy, a particular food item, etc., and can drive you nuts because they are persistent. Sales has to be the same way, but not in a negative way, a pleasantly persistent way. And the way I recommend people do it, and part of the formula for likability, is to always ask for permission. So, Tami, when you ask for permission and your prospect says, yes, add me to your mailing list, or yes, let's have our next appointment, you don't have to worry that this person is going to be offended or feel annoyed because you're following up and putting them on the mailing list or scheduling the appointment. And so asking for permission is one of the tactics, one of the strategies that I recommend that people use in order to go forward.
Yes, I love that. Completely agree. And that's something we do, like even when we're doing webinars, before we even make the offer, getting that buy-in to say, I have something more to share with you. Do I have your permission to share it? Right? Like getting that buy-in before you sell is huge because otherwise people do feel like you're being pushy and salesy and you're not giving them the value and they start to make up excuses and they think of the sleazy car salesman and they go down a path that you don't want them to go down. So I love that tip. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you have a great resource you're going to be sharing with our audience. Tell us what that is.
So the resource I have is the recipe for a likability, which really is a overview of this entire program that will help you gain the confidence, because confidence sells. And it's a 5-step process that will help you go from generating leads all the way to converting them into new clients.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. Go grab that. We will have the link to that in the show notes for you. So go take that. I mean, agree. We talk about confidence, and this is something Nancy and I were talking about my book right before this. This is something we talk about in the book, is the confidence that you have to have. People buy from you, like Nancy said, based on your confidence. You look at people on the street based on how confidently they walk down the street. You buy from a speaker based on how confident they are in their offer and what they're sharing. And so you have to show up confidently with your message and what you offer to this world and be enough service to them. So many great
Shameless plug
nuggets.
for
Yeah.
your book right now, because you've made the decision, which is the name of your book. You've made the decision. Everyone here listening to this podcast, you've made a decision. So now that you've made the decision, back it up with action, because a decision without action is just a hope and a wish.
Yes.
So take the action. This is a golden opportunity. There's a lot of support available. Tami's here. She's got a great program, that can help you catapult your business and get you started on the right path.
Yeah, it's been so fun talking to you, Nancy. I feel like you and I could go on and on about this because we're so aligned on all of this. And I appreciate you being here and sharing with us. It was such a pleasure. Love the red hat.
Thank you. I'm tipping it to you, to your sales success.
Well, thank you. And to all of you who are listening, to your sales success, to you creating that OMG moment where you're like, oh my goodness, sales is so easy now because now I understand what to do. I understand how to have that confidence in how I show up. And I understand how to say no to the wrong prospect. So I encourage you today, as you jump out there and think about that next step in your business, how you can apply these tips from Nancy today in creating your big OMG moment in your business. But we'll see you guys next time.